Where are they now? No, seriously, what happened to these people? Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 2000 stars that flopped in the 2010s. For this list, we're taking a look at celebrities who were household names in the 2000s, but didn't do so well in the 2010s. While some of these stars are still technically working, most of their credits have been obscure, poorly received, and not nearly as prominent as their earlier achievements.
You know, it's funny. In some ways, you've completely changed. And in other ways, you're exactly the same.
Heather, you can believe this. Nothing's changed.
Number 10, Elisha Cuthbert. Kim Bauer was never anyone's favorite character on 24.
I made up my mind. I want to move back to Los Angeles with you.
Elisha Cuthbert, however, did possess a certain girl next door quality. She even took center stage in a 2005 comedy entitled The Girl Next Door.
Do you have a boyfriend?
No.
Whereas that film gained a cult following, Cuthbert's subsequent attempts at movie stardom have not. In 2011, Cuthbert made the leap back to television on Happy Endings, which, despite receiving critical acclaim over time, ended after 3 seasons.
Look at your plate. What are you eating? Salad?
Since then, Cuthbert's filmography has been relatively quiet outside of her supporting role on The Ranch, which saw her upgraded to a regular in season 2.
Wow, a Colt Bennett without football. That's like the Battle of Hastings without the death of King Edward.
With that show wrapping up in 2020, will the ensuing decade have a happier ending for Cuthbert? Number 9, Josh Hartnett.
The only thing that scares me is you might love him more than you love me.
Throughout the 2000s, the industry tried to mold Josh Hartnett into Hollywood's next heartthrob with roles in Pearl Harbor, Black Hawk Down, and 30 Days of Night.
But nobody asks to be a hero. It just sometimes turns out that way.
Rumors even indicated that Hartnett was up for Loki in Thor. While a gig like that would have made him next-level famous, Hartnett seemingly parted ways with the blockbuster scene. In 2013, Hartnett stated in an interview that, quote, "trying to stay at the top is a shortcut to unhappiness."
There were some pretty intense moments with photographers and things like that that made me realize that, and some stalkers and things like that kind of got to a point where I just wasn't sure if I could function the way I wanted to, and so I decided to go back to Minnesota where I knew everyone.
Hartnett proceeded to say that he had taken 15 months off, questioning if this career path was right for him. This has been reflected through his recent filmography, which is mostly comprised of low-profile films and a supporting role on Showtime's Penny Dreadful.
Your accent's good, but no trace of a Yankee in it for a girl who says she grew up in Maine. Northwestern is in Illinois, not Indiana.
Number 8, Rachael Leigh Cook. As the 20th century neared its conclusion, Rachael Leigh Cook landed her breakout role as not-so-ugly duckling Lainey Boggs in She's All That.
Look around you. To everyone here who matters, you're vapor. You're spam. A waste of perfectly good yearbook space.
While some would argue that that's where she peaked, Cook remained relevant over the next decade in shows like Into the West and films like Josie and the Pussycats.
I love you too, Joes.
And I love you, Val.
And I love you, Mel.
And I love you, Josie!
Alas, once the 2010s rolled in, Cook went from She's All That to Who Dat? As of late, Cook's screen credits have almost entirely been comprised of direct-to-DVD features and Hallmark Channel movies. Aside from that, she's popped up in a couple of crime dramas, lent her voice to a few projects, and revisited her famous Brain on Drugs PSA.
This American is several times more likely to be charged with a drug crime. Imagine it's you.
Number 7, Seann William Scott. In the American Pie series, Seann William Scott stole the show to the point that American Wedding was pretty much a Stifler movie.
The first girl he ever hooked up with was at my party at my cottage. That girl's the girl he's marrying. The stiff man showed him the way.
In 2012's American Reunion, though, we find out that Stifler climaxed in high school and has struggled to get his act together since, which also sums up Scott's post-Pie career.
Fine. Guess the party's over.
Outside of playing the iconic party animal, Scott has voiced a literal animal in the Ice Age sequels. Scott also tried stepping out of his comfort zone a little as Wesley on Season 3 of Lethal Weapon. Maybe it's because of typecasting, maybe it's because of his rehab stint, or maybe it's because of Mr. Woodcock, but the 2010s stiffed the Stiffmeister.
So what's your book about?
It teaches people how to release painful memories so they can rebuild their self-esteem.
A lot of losers out there, I guess.
Number 6, Freddie Prinze Jr.
7 it is. Hey, do you want to maybe go have some dinner?
No.
I'll see you at 7.
Another She's All That alumnus, Freddie Prinze Jr. was one of the most desirable men of his generation. However, most of his work over the past decade has consisted of voiceover roles.
You don't always have to see something to know where it is.
Prinze most notably voiced Jedi Kanan Jarrus in Star Wars Rebels and Lieutenant James Vega in the video game Mass Effect 3, a role he reprised in the film Mass Effect Paragon Lost.
I've been to the Citadel, but never up here on the Presidium. It's not right.
Prinze seemed to lose interest in live-action projects after Season 8 of 24, in which he clashed with star Kiefer Sutherland. After that, he appeared in a couple of episodes of Bones, did some work on WWE, and co-authored a cookbook, but he remains best remembered as a former teen idol. Number 5, Brendan Fraser.
Sorry, the wrong guy.
Fraser was once a bankable Hollywood heavyweight, but on the heels of a couple of box office flops and disappointments, Fraser kicked off the 2010s with 2 more duds, Extraordinary Measures and Furry Vengeance.
Seriously?
He didn't even return for the sequel to Journey to the Center of the Earth, ironically being substituted with the Scorpion King himself, Dwayne Johnson.
Sean, we gotta talk about this.
You know, I'm still confused as to who gave him a speaking part.
Fraser has had slightly better luck on television in Season 3 of The Affair, the first season of Trust, and the voice of Robot Man on Doom Patrol.
What is wrong with me? All I want to do is cry.
While Fraser may never reach the same levels of popularity he enjoyed in the 90s and 2000s, we'll take his mummy movies over that Tom Cruise train wreck any day.
With a couple of shape charges, we could just close this hole right up and Miss Halsey can come back another day.
Shut up.
Okay.
Number 4, Chris Tucker. With his loudmouth roles in Friday and Rush Hour, Chris Tucker became the Eddie Murphy of the 90s.
I don't know anything about a little girl.
That ain't what I heard. That's what I'm gonna tell everybody.
I don't care what you heard. I don't know anything about a little girl.
I got a big mouth, Clyde.
While Tucker only starred in 2 Rush Hour sequels during the 2000s, both films were box office hits and earned him sizable paychecks. Rush Hour 3 alone scored the comedian $25 million, plus 20% of the profits.
Everybody was kung fu fighting. That man was fast as light. So young!
Maybe that's why Tucker's been slacking off. Since then, he's only appeared in Silver Linings Playbook and Billy Lynn's Long Halftime Walk. Tucker was a supporting player in both cases and radically dialed down his signature manic energy. Unless his bank account runs dry or Rush Hour 4 finally gets greenlit, we likely won't be seeing a ton of Tucker in the 2020s either. Number 3, Sarah Michelle Gellar. Like her husband Freddie Prinze Jr., Sarah Michelle Gellar was everywhere in the 90s and 2000s.
We need to find out who's making my mom sick and how.
Then what?
Then I hunt them, find them, and kill them.
In addition to her lead role on Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Gellar was no stranger to films, starring in I Know What You Did Last Summer, Cruel Intentions, and Scooby-Doo.
Would you do it for a Scooby snack?
Despite having great range, Gellar could not catch a break this decade. She headlined 2 potential comeback vehicles with the shows Ringer and The Crazy Ones, both of which lasted a season. She also shot a pilot for a Cruel Intentions sequel series that wasn't picked up. One highlight was a 2019 Super Bowl commercial where she returned to her Scream Queen roots.
I can't unlock my phone. Here, you can't unlock your phone. It doesn't recognize my face.
I've been using Olay. It has totally transformed my skin.
Looking ahead, we're just keeping our fingers crossed for a Buffy reunion.
For 7 years, I've kept us safe by doing this. Exactly this.
Number 2, Lindsay Lohan. Lindsay Lohan successfully transitioned from a child star in The Parent Trap to a teen idol in Freaky Friday and Mean Girls.
The limit does not exist.
Our new state champions, the North Shore Mathletes.
By the late 2000s, Lohan became better known for her multiple DUIs and other run-ins with the law. Lohan made a couple of attempts at a comeback in the 2010s, but perhaps the most infamous example was Liz and Dick, which ultimately earned Lohan abysmal reviews for her performance as Elizabeth Taylor.
He treated me like a queen. And I loved his voice.
That same year, she hosted an SNL episode that poked fun at her notoriety and resemblance to Emma Stone. Nevertheless, Lohan just couldn't shake her bad reputation, settling for a cameo in Scary Movie 5, guest starring on Two Broke Girls, and judging The Masked Singer, the Australian version. Honestly, I was a bit surprised that Lindsay isn't number 1, but I think when you see who is at the top, you'll agree. Think you might be able to guess which 2000 celeb fizzled the most in the 2010s? Let's see the honorable mentions, and then we'll catch up with that star.
And I think in a very short time, you can get back to being the Orlando that has been so successful in your life.
There's a lot of drama going on.
Oh, absolutely.
It went by too fast. I love this show.
It goes by fast.
This was a great season. I mean, we really amped up the drama. The storytelling's unbelievable. The
really
performances are great.
You know, when you work for Disney, you get obviously like a VIP person to bring you to the front of the lines, and you just feel like so cool.
I was doing things that I have fears about, and I'm getting over these fears, so it was very good for me at the time.
So then maybe 10 years ago, I just started doing stand-up again, and really started doing it really for the first time in some ways.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Tobey Maguire.
Why is this happening to me?
You know how Michael Cera played the mysterious Player X in Molly's Game? Well, Player X was primarily inspired by Tobey Maguire.
Why do you play?
I like destroying lives. Give him a chair.
Of course, Maguire was a no-show in the film, and something similar can be said about his current presence in Hollywood. Maguire started off the decade fairly well, co-starring alongside Leonardo DiCaprio in The Great Gatsby. For the most part, however, Maguire has been pushed behind the camera, acting as a producer and narrating The Boss Baby.
I had a million questions. Who is this guy? Why is he here? What's with that outfit? Why is he so fat? Why is he staring at me? Does he know karate?
It's been said that Maguire can be difficult to work with, and the fallout from Spider-Man 3 likely did not help the actor's career. With an Into the Spider-Verse sequel coming in 2022, here's hoping Maguire at least gets a cameo.
How many more Spider people are there? Save it for Comic-Con. What's Comic-Con?
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.